All right, guys. So, about 2 weeks ago, I had planned to do a full glam makeup before my therapy session. Obviously, things with Sinatra were not going well at the time. And then last week, obviously, Sinatra moved on, and I was just a complete mess for that therapy session the day after. So, obviously, I'm still grieving, but life has to go on. And so, I'm going to attempt to do that full glam today. I've got about 2 hours. And so, obviously, shoot. Okay, well, the TikTok camera is not recording, it is doing photos, but that is okay. We are going to let it do its thing while I get that set up. Okay, we are now recording over on TikTok, and it's okay. It didn't really need an intro anyway. I just use that camera for clips. So we are all good now. As you can see, I have done a little bit of prep. This is not going to be a tutorial. This is a get ready with me. So if you see any steps that you want to know more about, like I said, I had 2 hours before my appointment, so I am not going to take a lot of time to demo. I'm just kind of running through them. But if you do see something that you want to know more about, you see a product that I kind of skipped over, let me know and I can go over those in another video. So I've just got some shields on. I've got a little bit of concealer down underneath so that I can go back through and not have to worry about a lot. So like I said, I'm going full glam, which for me is a little bit of a pinup look gone to the max. If I have time, I will be putting on the false lashes, but I want to build up a sort of classic look underneath. So I'm going straight in with a medium, well, a light to medium brown base. And, you know, if I'd been smarter, I would have had my brushes ready to go, but how often am I actually prepped for these looks? About never. So what's new? I will never be prepared, so I'm not gonna start now. Like I said, this is a light to medium brown, maybe some might call it a khaki, and this is just laying down a base layer. I did not go in with a primer. This is actually going into just moisturized skin because I have not put any like a primer or foundation down, because this, while this is a glam, full glam look, I am not going out of my house. So I just did my moisturizer, and then we'll go in with a light foundation later. I'm not doing a whole lot of primer and all that sort of stuff. So I'm using this neutral color as a transition sort of primer shade, because we are going to go in with a lighter shade next. And this is just going to be our base transition shade. All right, now that that's all over the lid, I'm going to actually go ahead and deepen the crease first, and then we'll go into our white. And of course, I'm using my Profusion Moonlight Magic Palette, so there's no need to guess what I was using there, of course. And again, just deepening the crease. Honestly, I could do this look in my sleep. I think I've done these looks in my sleep before, so like I said, this is not a tutorial. It'll honestly take me more time to locate the brushes than anything else, I think, honestly. But what else is new? I wanted to make sure that I could pull a very tight line when I do my eyeliner, so these shields are right up close, so I am literally blinking over them. These are from Glam, and so they're a little irritating, but I'm only going to have them on just a little bit longer, so I think we'll be okay. And I'm just slapping this onto the lid. Now I'm just smoothing everything out around the edges with a kind of cocoa brown shade. And I'm letting this guide kind of shape the outer V. Something went funny with that transition shade. A crease there. It's almost as if I've got something sticky on my lid. Very weird. Okay, it's not happening on the other side. It was weird. I'm sure it's not picking up on camera, but in person, that was really weird. Wonder if maybe it was just a little bit of moisturizer that hadn't fully sunk in or something. Anyway, I'm not gonna harp on it. So let me grab my eyeliner. All right, we are back. This is the liquid eyeliner. Now, if you're curious why I don't do the, drag and flick technique, that's because this is a liquid with a felt tip. You cannot drag a felt tip in the same way. The skin doesn't grip and hold underneath. So I'm pulling a very, not very big, as in like proportion on my face, but compared to our cute little suggested wings, this is going to be larger than that. So we'll use these. These help with shaky hands, time. I'm doing this pretty quick, so let's just make it easy on ourselves. So we're going to go ahead and use these to make our life a little bit easier. So here, kind of just sketch back like we would. So normally we'd flick out and then drag back. So we're going to drag back first. Back across to where it connects. And now we're just going to color in. And we connected the shield as if our lower lash line would continue. So we're just letting the shield be our lower lash line. And I got that about even. I think so. Well, I feel like I'm just lining the top like I would normally. Now here's the thing. There's a good chance that this line across the top may be completely covered by a lash if we get a chance to put one on. But I'm doing this now just in case we don't. Just at the last second, I made a little boo-boo. So I'll clean that up like that. And then I'm gonna pop a little bit of a highlighter color just to the inner corner. All right, you ready for this? This is always the best part. Let's see how I did. Do we think they're pretty even? You know what? I think they are. I'll wait till the end to really clean anything up, but for now I think we're good. So moving on, I am gonna grab now some foundation, I think. Yeah. And a sponge to apply it with. So start by wetting the sponge. I think this might be just the prettiest foundation I've ever owned. It's like a perfect match. It's super lightweight. I think if anything, the only complaint I have is that it's, if I recall, yeah, it doesn't have any SPF in it. I mean, I always add SPF anyway, but I wish that, you know, if I was running out of the house, I had just one product to grab and I needed coverage that day, that I could grab this and just go and I'd have everything. Fortunately, that's not the case, but wish it were. This is just beautiful. It might be too good of a match because I can't quite see if I've got everything worked in, but again, not really leaving the house. I'm walking a fine line because yes, I'm not going anywhere, but I'm also doing a full glam, so, anyway. Okay, next let's go into our quick contour routine. And again, this isn't a tutorial, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of time. As you can see, I'm adding more contour and in higher places than I normally do. I'm gonna give myself a little bit more of a snatched look, hopefully. Every motion with this brush is pulling up to give myself a lifted look, and I'm got a round face, and so by adding contour here, I'm carving away that roundness, and by going at an angle here, I'm lifting the face up, getting more shadow higher up on the face. Okay, and now with my usual Hollywood pinup glam stuff, I would be using more of a classic look here on my cheeks, but I'm going to be going a little bit higher just because before I was doing it on a slimmer face, but we're gonna go a little bit higher, pulling it kind of up, going a little bit higher on my cheeks than I normally would. And we've been having trouble, the royal we have been having trouble with blush blindness just because I literally cannot tell how much I'm applying, but I'm staying in studio lights, so it doesn't really matter this time, and all of my photos will be doing the same, so we can pile it on as much as I want to. Give a little bit here as well. All right, now we're going to go ahead and set everything. You know what? I bought a new powder I haven't actually used yet. Let's try it out. It might give me a bit of a white cast, but we'll see. Or it may give me absolutely nothing. Okay, here we go. So this is Lemisseri would be my best guess. Pressed finishing powder, translucent coverage, and blurs pores. I got this at the Dollar Tree for $1.25, so let's see if it gives anything. Let's get in close, kind of split the difference between the two cameras. Are we seeing any blurring, or are we just getting white cast? Are we at least covering the sweat? What are we seeing? Well, I'm not getting anything, but that's all right. I'm getting some setting. I'm not getting a ton of white cast. It'll be enough for this mid-range step. It's fine. I got a pack of new shirts off Amazon. I have lost a bunch of weight from my chest area, and I have dropped 2 cup sizes, so I had to buy a couple new bras. And yeah, I have gone from a D cup to a B cup, but I am still a 40-42 band size, so this has been an issue. Try finding a 42B in anything that is not super expensive because it's custom size. Really fine. Okay, moving on. I need to move to my powders, which is going to be my highlighter and my bronzer. And then we'll set the blush. So just using my e.l.f. quad. I've been using it forever for a reason. It's a classic. Starting with the rose, moving to the white, and then moving to the gold. Now I'm gonna go into the taupe. I'm just gonna brush some into the crease and over the lid, just for a fun little pop. New shirt, and I just got it all over the place. Okay, now let's go into our bronzer palette. We'll bring in a little bit of warmth to set that contour. Now, I normally wouldn't set a contour with a bronzer, but this is just studio lighting for therapy. So it's just to pop it out a little bit. You see how it just kind of brings it all forward a little bit, just to see that pop. Yeah, we are running through this. Okay, let's get some blush on. I really did not think we would get through this so fast. I really can do this look in my sleep, can't I? Jeez. Okay, I'm gonna go in this color here. I don't use it very often, but like I said, we're going full glam, so I'm gonna go in to this color because it's got a little, get over here, got a little bit of sparkle to it, and it's got a little bit of warmth. So we're just gonna go in, like I said, bring it up into our temples to set that cream that we've got. All right, so really all that's left to do is the lashes and the lips. Okay, my lips are so bad right now. Let's go in with our lip liner, just our NYX retractable. And I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna cheat a little bit on this side, and I'm gonna kind of draw the line to mimic this side and not its actual contours. Sorry, cheating over for the TikTok camera. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make this a little bit pointier and a little bit higher, and then I'm gonna cut it a little bit thinner, more like that. Now that I like the shape that I sketched out, now I'm gonna thicken up the line. Now for down here, because this is a little rounder, I'm just gonna cut this edge a little bit rounder, like that. You know what? We're not done. I forgot to finish up around the eyes. So let me go ahead and do that before I finish here, because at some point soon, about 15 minutes, I'm gonna have to take my pills anyway. So we're just gonna look funny for a minute and go back and finish what was going on with the eyes. All right, it's okay. My brain is still grieving, so I'm gonna be a little flustered for a while. All right, so we were doing what? All right, we were finishing up underneath the eyes. Let's go back in with the brush that we were using with our crease shade. Let's go back in with our blending shade. And we're gonna sweep underneath the eyes. And while this isn't a tutorial, I don't mind kind of talking through each step. I just am not gonna get like super precise because, you know, there's always time to have a teachable moment. And, you know, I always talk about how there's a difference between influencing for influencers and, you know, story times and all these different little trends that, you know, everyone recreates on TikTok and social media. And if I'm going to be a channel that anyone watches and I want to be somebody that people watch because I address issues that people in the disability community face when it comes to beauty, then I want to be somebody that they come to because I fill a need. I want to be somebody that they know is going to stop and take that extra few minutes to talk about. That's just setting powder, I swear. It's going to take those extra few minutes to talk about. That setting powder is everywhere. Okay. Now that I'm getting a real up close look into this mirror, I'm seeing that it's not just a white cast, it is everywhere. Okay, I need a cleaner brush. This one will work. Sorry, I was saying that I'll take that time. So even though I'm not just, you know, talking through every single step in detail, I'm going to give you the basics of what's going on. And there are people that, you know, will tell a story and just do their makeup and never say anything. Well, that's okay because they're telling a story and they're not, you know, having any expectation of somebody recreating or following what they're doing, right? But I'm hoping that somebody learns something from what I do, right? And I'm not a teacher, I'm not an expert, I'm not a makeup artist, but I do hope that somebody learns something or picks something up that's valuable, right? Because I do have experience. You know, I'm 43, and even though I did pick up makeup a little later than others maybe, I did learn the way to do it properly when I did start, right? So I didn't start wearing makeup as, you know, a preteen and just kind of slap it on. When I started wearing it, I wore it because I was learning how to do it properly. So there was no kind of trial and error and just an awkward phase of like doing it wrong and doing it wrong repeatedly, right? When I did it right. So if I say something, there's a reason for it. And it may not be what's current and what's trending, and it may not even be the accepted method. It may not be even the way that's being taught in schools or whatever. But there's a reason behind it. It's because I've learned that for my disability and the disability that others like me have, this is the way that's going to work, right? This is the way that I've learned to adapt it. So, you know, when I say something, there's a reason. So anyway, I hope that when I say something, you know that I'm not BSing anybody. Anyway, let's keep going. I had to really work to get some of this powder off. Like I said, I got it from the Dollar Tree, so I wasn't really hoping for much. And, you know, it did what a powder is supposed to do on a very basic level. It kind of absorbed some of the moisture on my skin and whatever. Like I said, I'm not leaving the house, but this look is more glam than, you know, whatever. Okay, so there we are underneath, and we are going to add some mascara to the bottom lashes. We're going to curl the top lashes, and then we are going to apply some false lashes. Now, I've been talking about how there's bone structure and some genetics issues going on so that my face isn't symmetrical. One of the big issues is that these lashes are way curlier than these lashes. I don't even curl these lashes half the time, but these ones always need it. So I don't know the white behind my lashes are gonna be enough to see. Oh, I think the black line is too much, but I'm gonna go ahead and give these a curl. Now, I have a hard time grabbing onto them, but when I can grab onto them, I like to do the base, the middle, and the ends. But let me try and get these going. So I'm gonna do a quick coat on the bottoms of each, just a little bit for the glamness of it all. Wish I'd remembered to do this in order, because I'm getting a little messy. This is a much older mascara, so everything's a little cakey and crusty. You know what? I haven't actually set my under eyes with powder yet, so I think what we'll do is we'll go in with some concealer, clean everything up underneath here, and then we'll set, because this is messy. All right, so let's see if I can remember how to do these. Now, if I was smart, I would have been practicing. I'm not smart. Actually, that's not true. I'm quite an intelligent individual. I just wasn't very clever in preparing for this video. It's okay. Where's the clippy? I don't know. All right, well, let's just go for it. I don't know where it is. Okay. All right, we're almost there. That wasn't like the perfect example of how to do it, but like I was just saying, I kind of don't always do it the exact way you're supposed to. I kind of do it the way that works for me. So I really need to find the little clippy thing, because there it is. Ah! Because the thing is, you're supposed to like marry your eyelashes together. It's like the real ones and the fake ones. Okay. I shouldn't be acting like surprised, because I literally did it last time too, but like, you can't tell me those aren't cute. Okay, let's do the next one. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, excuse you. All right, I think that one went on a lot faster. I also think maybe it like bent over itself. I can't really tell, but I'm not gonna complain, because that went on really well, and I'm like an hour still to go, but I gotta take my pills real quick. So you guys want to see how I do my really weird pills? All right, so now we'll stop messing with those, and we shall add some mascara to tie those together, and then we'll clean up underneath. Actually, I'm not going to. I don't know if it's going to make much of a difference, and I don't know if I can clean them, so this one's sticking out a little. All right, let's clean up underneath that lash line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and again, I'm going to say it, this doe foot holds way too much product for me. So I'm gonna find just a little brush like this. I'm gonna go in underneath my eyes just like that, and then with a little sponge like this, I'm just going to blend. Okay, now I'm gonna go back in again with that same brown under the eyes. People who wear fake eyelashes on a normal basis, should they be heavy enough that you notice them, or should they be light? Because I imagine they should be kind of light and wispy enough that after a few minutes you don't notice them. But I don't know. And like, how long should they be? Because these feel like I'm gonna lift off and fly away if I have too much of a breeze. They're so long that wing that looked kind of dramatic doesn't feel so dramatic anymore. But I'm not gonna go back in. Excuse me while I turn my snoozed alarm back off. I'm not gonna go back in with more of a wing because I don't want to ruin it. But I am gonna go in and make that little pop of sparkle on the inner corner a little more dramatic, just to give a little bit more of a pop. Okay, there we go. That's cleaner. Okay, and now we're gonna go in after I wipe up clean off my fingers. Okay, and we're gonna go in with our pink powder and set underneath the eyes. There we go. Okay, now let's make sure that our lip liner is still looking nice and crisp. She says, and then immediately sponges it. I know that therapy is supposed to be secret, and you know, I get why and all that, right? But sometimes I really wish that I could just like record the first 30 seconds of therapy, just long enough to see Cece's first reactions, because she just makes me feel so good about myself sometimes. And I get it. That's her job, right? And not that she gasses me up. She does, but it's just, I've had therapists that I see outside of one-on-one therapy, right? I've had a therapist that did like these fun groups. He also led like AA and NA meetings at the community center. But he also did like games groups and karaoke groups at the like kind of, it was like a hybrid community and halfway residential home scenario in town. And so I go to karaoke, of course. I love to sing. And then I'd sometimes go to game group and stuff like that. And then before they got really like bitchy about it, I would kind of sit in on like some of the like NA and AA meetings. I just wouldn't sign in because I wasn't court ordered to do so, because obviously I don't have issues like that. I just found that aspect of counseling to be interesting because it was an aspect I'd never had before. And I'd asked permission from my therapist, and he said it was okay to be there. So I did. And then a couple new people started coming, and they asked who I was and why wasn't I signing in, and then they threw a fit, and so I wasn't allowed to go anymore. So anyway, I've seen them outside of strict therapy. And so anyway, as far as Cece, we have a very good relationship, and I do have her on my TikTok, and she has donated to my GoFundMe for Sinatra's bills and stuff like that. It is still open, although by the time this video goes up, I don't know if it will still be. Obviously, he's passed, but we do still have some final expenses. It was more expensive to have him privately cremated so that we could have his ashes, which is what Richard really wanted. Anyway, so she interacts with me outside of therapy. But I wish that you guys could see that little moment. The second she comes on camera and she sees that I've done all of this, that I'm wearing her favorite lipstick, which is the number 50 Wicked in the Superstay vinyl lipstick, this one here. And just the way her face lights up, and Casey has an accent, and so the way she says things sometimes I just get a kick out of, and so her face just lights up, and I just know that I've done something good. I wish you guys could see that. I really wish you could. Let me finish getting this lip on. This usually doesn't take two dips, but because I kept talking, I think I'm about to get a delivery because somebody is walking outside of my windows, or maybe somebody's visiting the neighbors, I'm not sure which. Just brought it up in case there was like a doorbell or something. I have a sign that says, deliver here and please ring the doorbell and or knock very loudly. We are not psychic. We do not know if you are here otherwise, something like that. And if they do that, they get extra ratings on their deliveries. And if they don't, they don't. So they don't necessarily get like a bad star rating if they don't, but they get extra compliments and higher ratings if they do. So no punishment for not, but extra if they do. You can give them the like followed instructions, like extra comment. See? So if you follow it, Anyway, so yeah, it's not that she like gasses me up, but it's like she can see that I'm doing something that I love, and that gives me extra energy and extra strength to get through some of the harder things that I'm dealing with in my life if I take these extra moments. And she was the one that really encouraged me to kind of expand these videos. I started these videos, of course, because people had started asking me kind of, how I did XYZ when I was practicing for the Witches Picnic. We all know this. Started kind of as a additional side TikTok back in the day, and of course I've expanded. And I really haven't grown. I'm only collectively at about 150 followers, and I've been doing this since September maybe of last year. 150 followers in that time is not a lot of growth. It really isn't. So I think a lot of people might have quit. And maybe the smart person would at this point, but it's not that I expect this to become a full-time job. I don't expect a lot of money from it. In fact, it could be a bad thing, because if I started making enough money that I got kicked off of Social Security and then something happened and I lost all of it, I could lose my income that was my Social Security, and I may not be able to get back on it. I could lose everything, right? If I did become kind of successful at this, I would only want it to be enough that it became side income that I could be kind of comfortable, something where I could maybe pay somebody to edit the videos for me, something where Richard and I could maybe find a place that didn't have mold, where it would be safe for me to use, the stove by myself, where I could cook where he wasn't here safely, maybe a place where there was, wheelchair accessible entrances in case I end up needing those one day. Maybe a place with a larger bathtub or a handicap accessible bathtub. Those would be nice. Maybe enough money where I could hire somebody to do the outdoor chores, or, I don't know. It'd be nice to dream those kinds of things. Maybe enough income where Richard wouldn't have to worry about extra hours just to cover, the extra money because Sinatra got sick and we had to put him down. That would be nice. Be nice to have some AC in the car. But, this social media is not a reliable source of income for most people. If this did become something where I did get an income from it, it would be nice, but it would still be something that I would have to be very careful with it. I would need to put stuff away so that if the worst happened, say I got canceled for something silly, I would need to make sure that I had a backup plan, because if this bubble were to burst, I could lose everything and be on the streets easily. That's what happens to people who are disabled. We have to be very careful. Even if I somehow start to feel well enough that I can start to work again, right? It's not that I'm stupid. It's not that I'm uneducated or untalented, right? I am very well educated. I have a lot of talents. I could, in theory, make money as an editor. I've done it before. And in fact, I would love to get back into it. It's very hard to get back into an industry when you've been out of it for a long time. I'm no longer young. I no longer have the skills in all of the newest software, that sort of thing. But in theory, could I pick up a few side jobs? Yes. But I could get one big job. I could luck out land one big job, but I couldn't sustain it, right? So if I landed one job that got me enough money that I reported it, and say for a couple months I earned enough that I, lost my Social Security for a couple months. If I lost it for one extra month too much, and then I no longer got any more jobs after that, could be dangerous. And so if I'm going to go back into that, I have to know that my illnesses aren't going to come back and mean that I can't get that any more jobs after that. Like, you've got to know that you have that job security. But anyway, that's a tangent. But yeah, so it is what it is. But Cece, so she encourages me to do this because she sees that I love it. She sees that it gives me energy, because I got into this because it was something that I could give back that wasn't going to have that same pressure, right? There's no pressure in this to be a job in the typical sense. I can edit at 3 o'clock in the morning. If I miss posting one day, nobody's coming at me like a boss would, right? If one day all I can do is a couple of, filter videos where I take a picture and it turns me into a character from Lilo and Stitch instead of fully filtered or a fully edited spliced makeup video, who cares, right? If one video gets 500 views and then the next one only gets 4, I'm not going to lose my job. I'm not going to lose my house. I'm not, there's no paycheck coming from any of this. If I do it just because I love it, and if I only get 2 new followers a month, that's okay. And if I feel a little down about myself because, a video didn't do so well, that's okay too. And then if I feel really great because a video did do well, that's a bonus. So I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to go finish getting ready, maybe drink some more of that Gatorade, cool down, may come back out here to do my appointment, but probably I'm just going to take this stand. I'm going to go into bed and do my appointment in my room where there's AC, because I won't need a table in front of me to be doing all of this. So, and then maybe my next video I will film from bed. I've done it before where I've just kind of set up the things I needed, because not everybody has a table. Some people in my community do need to film from bed, and so I have done that before, or apply makeup from bed. So, maybe that'll be the next thing. But I will catch you guys in the next one. So remember to stay safe, be kind to yourself. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.